Hey beautiful, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, hi, my name is Alexis Jayda and welcome. Notification shout out goes to Kayla Reyes. So a few of you have been asking me to talk more about my clients, my makeup clients, the good, the bad, all of it. So I thought it'd be really fun just to throw a makeup story time in there. And real quick, if you want to be part of the notification shout out, all you have to do is just be subscribed, like the video, hit the notification bell down below, and leave a comment down below, and you can possibly be the next notification shout out, or your video that you recommend me do can be picked. So yeah, let me know what you guys are doing. If you're driving, if you're eating, if you're getting ready, let me know what you guys are doing. You guys know I'm a chismosa, so I'd love to know, and let's get started. Oh, you guys, I've been posting more on TikTok, so follow me on there. It's definitely different compared to Instagram. I feel like on TikTok, it's just, I don't know, it's been a little bit different lately. So I've been posting more on there, which is like super fun. So follow me on there and let's begin. Oh, I did a skit too about Baltimore and me. I watch people's TikToks and how they can act like another person, and I'm like, damn, y'all are like really talented. Me, I just felt, I don't know, y'all have to watch it. All right, so this is back when I would do makeup. Sometimes I still schedule appointments here and there. I'm very careful and I don't tend to book many appointments just because I guess I'm kind of traumatized, y'all. Like I really am. So this story time happened, I want to say like a couple of years ago, and it was between two cousins. Now you know there's always drama with primas because y'all be crazy, man. So we'll call the first beautiful lady, they're both very, very beautiful. We'll call one Peanut and we'll call one Jelly. Peanut butter and jelly. All right, Peanut Butter reached out to me and asked me if I could do her makeup, that she had an event that she wanted to look really, really cute for, and she loved how I did my makeup, and one of her friends had booked with me. That's why you gotta be professional all the time and keep it cute, because word of mouth is, it gets there, you know, gets you around. So Peanut was really nice and was like, yeah, I want to book with you, and my cousin as well. I'll be paying for her appointment. And I'm like, okay, cool. Get everything ready. She tells me what colors that she'll want. I ask her if she wants it like a trial, you know, trial run or anything like that. She says no, that she knows that I got it. So I'm like, okay, cool. And I ask her, like, you know, you think your cousin will want one? She's like, no, like, we're good. Tells me what date to go and everything. So I'm like, all right, cool. Good vibes, good vibes. Before I get there, she asks me if I wanted anything to drink because her cousin's going to be bringing anything. Me, traumatized, right? You know, because of the other story times. It's just, you just never know. I swear, some people, sometimes you think they're rude when they tell you like, oh no, thank you. But you just never know why a person is the way they are, or why they might be how they are. You know what I mean? So I tell her like, oh no, it's fine. Like, it's fine. She's like, no, are you sure? Like, she can get you something. Like, it's no problem. Like, I got you. And I was like, no, like, it's fine. Like, I promise, it's cool. I have my drink already. I didn't, but I did stop somewhere to get some Starbucks because I was like, you know, I'm just gonna be watching them. Then I'm gonna be thirsty and I'm gonna be doing two girls. So might as well just, you know, keep myself like good energy and not like, or anything, you know, because sometimes caffeine will get you like and push you through. So I'm like, no, it's okay. Like, I already got mine. Stopped and I got mine. And I'm headed there. I had scheduled them like one after another because obviously I'm not like over here with like 4 hands, right? First is Peanut, and she's just super sweet. She's like talking to me about her business, that she's going to be doing this, and she's so excited. She's gonna be selling clothes and everything. And I'm like, dude, that's so freaking cool. Like, that is something that I have always wanted to do too, you know? But I'm no fashionista. You know what I mean? Like, I can sometimes look the part, I feel, you know, sometimes I can pull it off. But most of the time I just have like this tomboy boyish vibe to me. And I know like family members sometimes want me to come out of my comfort zone, but I can't, you know? So I tell her, I'm like, dude, like, I don't know. I can't. I really love how other people can, you know, put something on and just look cute. And she is the type that she could wear like a garbage bag and she would look good, you know, one of those. She was telling me that even if I don't want to wear the clothes, that I can find someone to wear them and that I could do it. But I'm like, I don't know. maybe later on, if I ever get into something else, like fitness or something, like that would be cute, you know, to come out with some like stuff. So I was like, I don't know. So we were just like bouncing ideas off each other. She was like, how did you get into YouTube? I started telling her like, oh, you know, mostly it's because of my hubby and everything. He's like my #1 hype man. And she just kind of gave me this look like, you lying, you know? I'm like, no, dude, like I swear. Like it was always his kind of like, he gave me that push, you know? He was always telling me like, you could do it, babe, and taking me to events. Like a lot of time I feel like people think that I just say it just to say it, but not, like I'm gonna give credit where it's due. My husband would take me all the way to California, and he would have to take time off work, of course, and we would go to like the events they had out there. Sometimes they would not give me like a +1, so I could not bring my babe inside, so he would wait outside, and it freaking sucked because I would be in there, anxiety like a mofo, and my babe would be in the car, and he would be cool with it, but I hated it. I was just like, babe, like come inside, like just come inside, because you see all these other influencers and they could bring their spouse in, you know? So I was kind of like, what the hell? Like, how did they get their person to come in? Like, I want my person to come in. And when I would ask and stuff, like, hey, can I bring him in? Like, he's not gonna get like a goodie bag or anything. Like, can I bring him in? No, sorry, we can't. If he doesn't have a pass, he can't. And we would buy his like his beauty ticket and stuff, but I'm talking about like the private like events and stuff. Like I could not bring my husband in with me. So she was like, what? That's crazy. And we're just like vibing and just, you know, feeling each other out. And I'm telling her like, yeah, like that's my babe. Like when I tell people like we're a team, like I mean it, like we're a team, you know? And so it was cute because I gave her like the look too, like, like how she had gave me like and she kind of just nudged me, and she was just laughing. She was just like good vibes and just like really, really cool. Well, I don't know how it came about, but we started talking about her cousin Jelly. I was like, what did I name her again? Her cousin Jelly. Because I don't know how it came about, you guys, but it's just one of those things where it was just like organic, you know? If she tries to give you any money for a tip, take it. And if she doesn't, like, I got you. Don't even worry. And I just kind of laughed, you know, and I was like, oh, is she like your younger cousin? And she's like, nope, she's not. We're only a year apart. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. And so she was telling me, like, I hate when I use that word, like, that's crazy. Like, when you're talking to someone, because it sounds like so, like, not genuine, but you don't know what else to say, you know? Like, do you just stay quiet, or, like, do you say, like, oh, that's crazy? You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm always like, that's crazy. And I'm like, my husband always laughs at me. And he's like, like, and I tell him, like, I don't know what to say, babe. Like, I don't know what else to say besides, like, yeah, that's crazy. Like, help me out. Like, what do I say then? Besides, like, dang, that's crazy. Like, I don't know, like the way she said, like, no, only 1 year apart. Like, that's crazy. Like, I don't know what to say. And so she's like, right? And so she was telling me, like, if I was close to any of my cousins. I was like, no, not really. Like, I have some here and I have some in Texas, but no, we're not really that close. She was telling me, like, you know, like, that's a blessing, because this one she pretty much grew up with, and they were constantly kind of like pinned against each other, or like compared. And I'm like, yeah, like that would be annoying. Like, I have a cousin that some of us are compared to, and it's so annoying. Not because it's just like F that B, you know, it's just one of those things where, like, I don't care if she's doing this, if she's doing that, if she can do a handstand on a penis. I don't care. I really don't. Like, good for you, rah rah rah, like, good for you. It just sucks with the comparing, you know? And so I guess with like all the comparing, this cousin was like, you know, se cree mucho, like she thinks she's like hot stuff. And so I was telling her, like, so then why did you pay for her makeup? And she was like, well, like, that's, you know, we do stuff like that. She sometimes pays, sometimes I pay. And I was like, but because like the way that it was coming off, like she didn't like her, you know? And so I was like, so why do you guys hang out? She was like, it's one of those things, like, we just have to. Like, I don't know how to shake her, even though she's family, but we just have to. It's just one of those things. Like, don't you have somebody like that in your life? At the time, I kind of did have someone in my life like that. So I was like, yeah, like, you know, it's just like a toxic thing, and you just can't shake that person. And so she was telling me, like, it's even harder when it's family and you grew up with them, and families kind of, you know, like, they're close, like they have like barbecues and stuff. And again, where they were only like a year apart, people would always be like, oh, what you're up to, Jelly? What you up to, peanut butter? You know, butter. So I was kind of like, oh yeah, like I get it, you know? And she was just telling me that like she was just so trifling and she would do, you know, just stuff to like make her look bad. And so we were just kind of like talking, and I wasn't like, yeah, she sounds like a real bitch, you know, because just because someone's talking ill about somebody they love does not mean you get to join in, because it's like that sibling thing. Only you can be mean to your sibling. But as soon as someone else is mean, you check them, you know, because it's natural. She started telling me some like really deep cheese, man. Like the more I was doing her makeup and like foundation, the more she was like, yeah. And one time she like left me stranded at a party. So I guess Peanut and Jelly were at a party, and I guess Jelly was feeling some dude, and she tells her like, I'm gonna go to the restroom real quick, I'll be back. So everyone's still partying, everyone's still kicking it. And I guess Peanut was like, okay, like I'm ready to go home, I'm done. She's like, it was like 2 in the morning. So she's still thinking that her cousin's like getting busy in the restroom. But no, Jelly left her. I guess when she was looking for her, everyone was like, who are you looking for? Like, what are you doing? Because she was like looking in the rooms, and she said she was like screaming her name, like, Jelly, because she was intoxicated and she was ready to go, and she was getting kind of upset. She was saying like she was like has a little attitude with everybody, because everyone was like, who are you looking for? It's like, don't worry about it, you know. And it was so cute because when I was doing her makeup, she was like doing the face expressions and huffing and puffing, and it just was so cute. So she was like looking for her, and then I guess one of their mutual friends was like, Jelly left like 3 hours ago. She left with so and so, like the person she was in the restroom with. And so she like tells me like that was so messed up. She's like, she like left me stranded. That is messed up. Like, what the heck? I'm like, did you know any of these people? She's like, no, they were like her friends. She only brought me because she told me of the party. And I was like, you didn't like have like mingle with anybody there? She's like, no, I didn't like anybody there. So she was like telling me more, and it was so hard not to like judge Jelly, because that's like really messed up. Like, who does that? And so she was offered to sleep in another room because everyone was like too intoxicated to drink, and she was saying like Uber wasn't a thing back then, you know. And so she was like, I was too intoxicated, they were too intoxicated. She's like, even when this person that she knew wasn't really drinking, she was like, take me home. And the person was like, I'm not taking you home. Like, I'm not driving you anywhere. Like, I don't know you. I'm not taking you anywhere. The person was like catching your attitude with her. He's like, I'm not taking you. Like, I don't know who you are. Like, I'm not gonna waste my gas. And she's like, girl, I was like literally like screaming at him, like, take me home. And it's so awkward when someone's telling you a story and you're like you're tripping, like you're crazy. Like, if you were talking to me, I'm not taking you. Like, it's just so funny. So you just have to be like, that's crazy. And I was just like, dang. She's like, am I wrong? And when she asked me that, I just was like, let me see your face. Okay, let me. And I was like, what were you saying? Because I'm not gonna like, oh, what if I were to tell her like, yeah, you're wrong. Some people can't handle it, and we don't really know each other, you know. And so she's like, I guess she was getting huffy and puffy with them. And thank goodness that the people who like lived there or who were crashing there, they just told her like to calm down, picked her up, and like, you can chill in this room. This room has a lock, so no one's coming in, no one's going out. And then she said like they were like showing her like, see, like no one's gonna come in, no one's gonna go out, like you're gonna be good in here, like no one's gonna touch you, you know. Because I guess she was screaming like she didn't want to stay there because she didn't want nothing bad to happen to her. She's like, you know how people would just be doing stuff. I'm like, yup, I know exactly what you mean. There's been times where I'm like, why did I put myself in this position, you know? Because we mess up. Sometimes we bite too much off that we can chew. So she's like pissed, and I guess she's like trying to call her sister, and her sister is ignoring her call. So you know when you call somebody and you know when they decline your call, like they hit like the end button or whatever, or like they squeeze the phone. So she knew that her sister was ignoring her, so she was fuming even more. So she's like, I'm just like fighting with her, yelling at her, leaving her voicemails like, how could you leave me like this? She's in the room with the door closed and locked, and she's like screaming, and she just like knocks out, where she's like tired. And she wakes up, she still has her clothes on, she said, and she's like good, you know. She apologizes for how she acted, because I guess she felt kind of weird, like, oh shoot, like I shouldn't have been acting like that. The person who told her he wasn't gonna give her a ride still didn't give her a ride. Because he was pissed. Like, how are you gonna talk to me like that? Because I guess she was calling him out of his name, calling him this and that, and just being like really, really disrespectful. And she didn't rub him right. He was like, I don't care, you shouldn't have been coming out. If you're gonna be drinking that much, you shouldn't be acting like crazy like that. she calls her mom, and her mom picks her up, and her mom is like furious. Like, why are you here? And they still can't get a hold of her cousin. So they're thinking something bad happened. So she's like she's calling, and her mom is like, let's just go over to the house. Like, maybe she's there, her cousin's house. Go over to the cousin's house, and she is passed out, like knocked out. She wakes her up, and she's like fighting with her, telling her like how could she leave her. And I guess Jelly's just kind of laughing like, oh my god, like he was like asking me like, come on, like let's just leave, you know, just me and you, I don't want to be here no more. And I guess Jelly was just not like accepting, like, dude, like you left me, like that's not okay, what are you doing? And so I guess they're like fighting really ugly. So she was like screaming at her that something could have happened, and I guess Jelly's like, but nothing did happen, like you're here, you know, just being like super nonchalant. I'm pretty sure we have all had someone in our life like that, where they literally think that everything is funny and like, but nothing did happen, you know, and they just skate on by. Nothing did happen, you know. And so she's telling me this story, and it's so hard not to like feel some way towards Jelly. And I'm like, oh my god, like I'm gonna have to do her makeup, how freaking awkward. And so she's just kind of like venting, and she's like, oh my god, like I don't even know why I'm telling you all of this. I keep telling her like, no, it's like, it's okay, like it's totally okay. She's like, I just have no one to talk to. Like every time I vent to my tias about it, or if I even talk to my mom, they're just like, you know, that's just how she is. And that's such a lame ass excuse for people to give other people, like that's just how she is. Like I used to do that for my brother too, because he's a freaking mean ass Aries, and I always used to give him that excuse of like, that's just how he is though. No. So we're continuing to talk about Jelly, and you know, she's like asking me like, your honest opinion, like do you think that's messed up? I'm like, you know what, yeah, like I do. Have you like talked to her like for real, like, hey, I don't think this is cool that you do that? And she's like, yeah, like, and every time I do, the family wants to get involved and be like, you hurt her feelings. So she's like telling me that she gets to get away with a lot of things because like the family feels bad for her and stuff. And I could totally relate, because have you ever had like that one person, it doesn't necessarily have to be like family, but they kind of like get away with being a shitty person because people have excused their actions, or they want to be like, oh, that's just how they are, like don't be like that, like, you know, or they're just that people. Like I don't know, it kind of reminds me, like people like this remind me of like the Mean Girls, where I know that had a happy ending, and like, well, not a happy ending, she got hit by a bus, but you know how it had like a different ending. The real world isn't really like that. Not everyone gets to have their bully like put in check and that happen. Most of the time people are really crappy and get away with it, and that's why they think that they can be this way, or that they deserve this, and they have that attitude of like, I can get away with whatever I want, you know. I was just telling her like, yeah, I understand what you mean, like I get it. I've had people like that in my life, and I've had people bully me too. And you know, you ask for help and people are like, what, like she didn't even mean it like that, like it's not that serious, or it's not that deep, or just like siding with her like, well, what did you do? And it's like, you literally didn't do anything. Like I remember calling some freaking asshole who bullied me a freaking witch. I put on everything I love, God can strike me now. And this girl heard me call her a witch, and she's like, you called her a bitch. I'm like, no, I didn't. And she went and told and said that I said the B word. I know that sounds so stupid and petty, but it literally was like I did not say that. And it, you know, I got in trouble. So I was just kind of like, yeah, I get it, you know, letting her know. And she was like, oh, thank goodness, like someone who actually like understands. And she would just tell me again, like with her tias and stuff, like how they always make it seem like it's no big deal, and she's just like getting irritated. I'm like telling her like, girl, like you're making me not want to do her makeup. Like really, look how different this is here to here. It's gonna work out, I promise. So I'm like telling her like, you're making me not want to do her makeup, dude. Like you're making me like, I don't know, like I feel kind of bad, like I don't want to do her makeup. And she starts laughing. She's like, no, like when she gets here, she'll win you over. Like that's just how it is. Like, it's okay. She's like, I'm not gonna feel any way. And she's like, and I obviously want her to do her makeup. She's like, I love her, even though she's a freaking jerk to me. She's like, I want her to do her makeup and we're gonna go out, you know, pretty much just like, you know, venting and talking to me because everyone else just makes her feel like she's being dramatic and that her feelings aren't valid. So I'm like finishing her up, kind of like clockwork. Her cousin arrives and she's super freaking nice, super friendly. And as soon as she sees her cousin, she's like, oh my God, like your makeup looks so nice. You look so pretty, cousin. Just like being really, really sweet to her. And you know, they're like, oh, hi, hug and kiss. I introduce myself. Right away, she comes up to me and she's like, hi, introduces herself. And she's like, what lies did she tell you about me? And I don't know if she was just like playing, but it was just so weird. Like, Peanut is like, shut the hell up. Like all annoyed, right? She's like, I hate when you do that. And Jelly hits her back. And I hate when you tell people lies. So freaking awkward. Like it wasn't even like if it was like friendly fire. Like it was just, you could tell like they weren't really playing. So she sits down and I ask her like, what kind of look do you want me to do? She tells me like, do whatever you want. She's like, you're the artist, do whatever you want. And just like really, really nice and friendly. And Peanut is kind of like quiet. She's not really talking as much. And I'm thinking like, is it because like I'm doing her makeup now? Or I start overthinking. I'm like, does she really want me to be like, oh, like, no, I'm not gonna do her makeup no more? Or I didn't know. Like, so I was just overthinking in my head. And I guess Jelly sees that her cousin, you know, is like really quiet. And she asks her like, what's wrong with you? Or what, like, what pissed you off today? And I'm just quiet because I'm like, it's none of my business. Like my first time, it's none of my business. None of my business. And they kind of start bickering and she's like, shut the hell up. Like, why are you always talking crap? And why are you always being so rude? Jelly, Peanut was telling Jelly, like, why are you being a jerk? Like, I'm not doing anything to you. She's just doing your makeup. I'm just quiet. I'm just texting back so-and-so and you're bugging me. She's like, how am I bugging you? She's like, why am I even here then? She's like, I'm only here because you invited me over. And under her breath, Peanut thinks that she whispered it, I guess. And she said to get it over with. And I'm like, what the fuck? Jelly's like, what do you mean to get it over with? She's like, yeah, just to get it over with. They kind of start talking about like, what do you mean? And I'm like, yeah, what do you mean? Like to get over with? Like, but then I remember her telling me like, you know, just to like get it over with and like their visit and stuff like that, like just to get it over with and so that she wouldn't have to see her for like a long period of time because it's just something that she had to do. She's like one of those things like, oh, you see the puddle even though you don't want to step in it, you step in it just to get it over with, you know? Jelly hits her back with like, what? Like, what's up with you? Like, why are you acting like this? And I'm just quiet. Like, I'm just literally quiet. And Jelly asks me like, I know what her cousin problem is. And I'm like, no. Because it wasn't my place to be like, yeah, she's probably annoyed and still hyped up from the conversation that we just had about you. And she said that you're not a good person. But I just said, no, like, I don't know. And I'm just still doing her makeup. And it was so awkward because Peanut is like, look, sis, like, look, remember I was telling you about, she was telling me about like a certain thing that she wanted to have, like to sell and stuff, like some chokers, like some cute like chokers, you know? She was like, show me like, look, this is what I was talking about. And I was like, oh yeah. And so, you know, just like naturally Jelly's like, I want to see. And Peanut got like so annoyed by it. She's like, here, and like showing her, she's like, ew, then don't show me then. It was so awkward, you guys. Like, I don't even, it was awkward. So I'm just like finishing up her makeup. I did something similar to her cousins just in case like they were like, oh, well, your makeup looks like this or mine looks like that. I didn't want, since it seemed like they were kind of competitive, for them to be like, well, mine's better, or I got a nude and you got a vamp or anything like that. So I tried to keep it like very similar to both looks, and I was right. So as soon as she starts looking at her makeup, she's like, oh, look at mine. I have this kind of wing and you have this one. And what the hell? That sounds freaking scary. So as they were like comparing, looking at their makeup and stuff to like, oh, like look at this, like what gloss did you use? And if I do their makeup and they're like, oh, well, like I really like this color or this foundation shade, I will write it down for them. Like, oh, it's this one right here, and lipsticks or whatever. Like if I have the time, I will. After I had my baby, the nurses were so sweet and really liked my makeup, and they were asking me like, what are your favorite options of this and that, and really caught the moment. And I just thought it was so freaking cool. So whenever I do have time or I can, I will share. So I was just writing things down that she had liked, and I was writing them down for Jelly too, because Jelly really liked this nude that I had on her. What other colors would look good? We're just kind of like chismeando and talking, and they were both like at this time like being really, really nice to each other, like, oh, like you look so pretty, like, no, you look pretty. And it just seemed like they were like, okay, finally, cool, nice. they asked me if I wanted to go out to eat with them. And I was like, oh, like, no, it's fine. Like, I don't want to intrude on your guys' date. Like, I'm going to get ready to go back. Like, I got babies to go back to. And they're like, no, like, come on. Like, let's just go get something to eat real quick. I'm pretty sure you're hungry. Like, because I was there for 3-4 hours because we were just talking most of the time too. So it was kind of taking a little bit longer. They convinced me. We ended up going out to eat. And of course, I paid for my food. They were just, you know, really, really nice. And it got to like a weird topic of boys. I swear, boys and family, cousins, best friends do not mix sometimes. All right, so we go out to eat. They're talking, they're having a convo, and they're talking about this boy. So Jelly had this friend. I guess she had this friend since they were like super little. I'll call him Jack. She's friends with this guy named Jack. They're best buds. Peanut butter comes around, and she and Jack just, and ever since they connected, I guess he doesn't have that much time for Jelly, or he feels like he can't like BS with her. He doesn't treat her like one of the boys anymore. I guess he treats her with a little bit of like, oh, ha, 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 whatever. And I guess he used to talk a lot of smack on Peanut Butter, and he was telling Peanut Butter like, hey, like your cousin says this about you, about this about you. I feel like that's just what a lot of cousins do. Anyway, so they're going back and forth, and I'm thinking like, I bet you anything Jelly probably likes Jack. That's why she's probably going so hard, or she's like not happy for Peanut Butter. So I'm just letting them like go at it, and Peanut is like, I don't even want to go to this event with you anymore. Jelly's like, I don't want to go with you either. Peanut Butter's like, it's okay. I invited Jack. I'll go with him. I'm not going to even talk to you. Like, I don't even know what. So they're like fighting. It gets to the point where like they won't stop. So I'm like, all right, like I'll see you guys later. Bye. And I leave. So they both add me on Facebook, and I'm seeing them like post and stuff like where they're going to like this event. It looks very, very pretty. I see who this Jack person is, and I'm like, oh, okay. I can kind of see like why they're probably fighting over him. Very handsome kid. And then you just see them like commenting and just taking out like the most flattering pictures of each other. So I'm like, oh, okay. Time passes, okay? Time like passes by. It's nothing. I get a call from Peanut Butter, and she's asking me if I can do her photo shoot. And I'm like, oh yeah, for what? She's having maternity pictures being done. I'm like, oh, congratulations. Like, that's so exciting. I get there, and she is just glowing. She's just super, super happy. And she was just telling me that her and Jack were getting very serious, and she had to cut Jelly out. She's like, girl, it was just nonstop drama. Like, you have no idea. So I'm like doing her makeup and getting her all glammed up. She's super pretty, and continue my day. A couple of days passed by. Jelly sees the post that Peanut Butter had tagged me in, was like, thank you so much for doing my makeup. And Jelly reaches out to me, and she asks me if I could do her makeup, that she has some maternity photos too. So I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. That's awesome. So I go. Me and Jelly are talking. She's like apologizing because she was like, I bet you anything Peanut Butter's telling you all this stuff about me, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, no, she really didn't mention you like at all. Because she really didn't. Like, she wasn't really like, she brought her up a little bit, but it was more like, yeah, we don't talk anymore. It's whatever, yada, yada, yada. And that her and Jack were just so happy. Like, she wasn't really like how she was the first time, like complaining about her. She was just glowing with happiness. So I tell her like, no, she wasn't really talking about you, and I'm just continuing to do her makeup, and I'm asking her like, how far along are you? I was like, oh, did you guys get pregnant at the same time? And she was like, kind of, sort of. And just kind of, you could tell like when someone's trying to feel you out, like they're telling you a little bit but not telling you a lot. I continue doing her makeup, and her dude walks in, and I'm like, this is Jack, right? So the dude walks in, and I just said, oh, hi. And I do a kind of like double take, because I'm like, he kisses her on the cheek, and she's just like all smiles. And he gets something. He tells her like, hey, I'm gonna go get a haircut. Like, I'll be back. She's like, yeah, okay. He leaves, and I'm like, is that Jack, Peanut Butter's boyfriend? She's like, ex-boyfriend. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like doing her makeup, and I'm like, I'm like, I don't want to like, you know, overstep, but is he both your guys' baby daddy? She told me it was a complicated situation, but that she was okay with them doing whatever, and her, because she's like, you know, she's pregnant, she's in a really fragile state right now, and he's gonna break the news to her. So Peanut didn't even really know what was going on. Jelly's over here doing something, and Jack's over here playing both sides. So it was so freaking awkward. And I have told people before, like, hey, like, your dude's cheating on you. I have showed people evidence before. I have lost like friendships. I have lost cousinships. Is that even a word? It's so, my mom has always told me like, mind your business, but you never want to be that person where like you just look like a pendeja, you know, and people are like, well, it's because like I didn't want to tell you because like you weren't gonna like listen, or like I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to lose you. Because there is some people who like, even though you show solid proof, like you see this person right here next to this person right here, he's cheating on you, or like you see this text message, he's cheating on you, and people want to be like, oh, it's probably a fake text, or like people are jealous of my man and how he is with me, and like he would never, like he treats me like a queen. Like no one ever, like of course, like no one, I have been that person, no one ever wants to be told like, hey, you're being played for a fool, like, hey, your cousin did this. Like I've had grimy ass cousins who have done stuff like this. I have had grimy ass friends who you think that like you would go to the ends of the earth for, who have done stuff like this because like they're testing out this person, or like they just want to see if they're loyal to you. Like no one asked you to do that for me, boo. Why are you doing that for me? Like I didn't ask you. And they want to come back and be like, you know, I just want to see if he like really liked you, so like I messaged him something. Like no one asked you to do that. Like what are you doing? Like now it just looks weird. Now I just, because then if you try to end that friendship with that person, they're like, it's because she's jealous. No, bitch, you're moving funny. You're awkward. So anyways, besides the point, you see how I have like so many story times within that right there. So I'm like, you know what? You know, I kind of come off like a little fake because I'm like how? Like, explain to me. And I just tell her like, explain to me. She could have been like, bitch, mind your business. And I've been like, okay, you know, like I will. But she was telling me, I guess, like that night, she pretty much told Jack like, hey, like I like you, like I have feelings for you, I like you, it's either me or her, no, me or her, pick one. And I guess he didn't know how to break it off with peanut butter. Like he really liked peanut butter, but jelly, I like to spice things up. Like I'm not boring. And just the way she was talking, I was just like y'all wearing diapers together, you guys are only 1 year apart. Like even though this girl said you were a freaking pain in the ass, like she still paid for your makeup. Like you're just grimy, you're dirty. So anyways, she tells him, he's like, I don't know how to break it to her. And so he pretty much tells Jelly like later on, like if you're okay with being like the side, like that's cool, like that would work for me, because like I don't want to hurt Peanut. Peanut ended up coming out pregnant, and he was like, now I definitely can't break up with her now. Like she's gonna, it's gonna be so much pressure on her. Like she thinks I'm such this good guy and I want to be there for her. And then this one gets pregnant too, and she's like, no, it's okay. Probably rubbing her panza, like it's fine. Like I understand. Like what? So she's over here all happy in sunsets, you know, like really happy. And this one's over here happy too, but she's okay with like being the side wing. Like what the heck? So I finish her makeup, and she like tells me and stuff like, don't stress my cousin out, all right? Like it's none of her business. Like he's gonna tell her once the baby's here. That's in a couple of months. She's like, ain't no thing. And I asked her like, why did you want me to do your makeup like that? There's so many other people. Like why? Like I feel like you're putting me in I feel like you want me to tell her. And she just like smirked like, no, I just like I don't know. No, just don't tell her, okay? Just don't tell her. Like, people like that are scary, right? So I went home and I literally was just like, why is Jesus always putting me in these weird situations? Like weird, where I'm like, what do I do? What do I say? Because if you guys know, or if you guys have watched my other story times, there is a story time where I did tell this girl, oh my gosh, I forgot what her name was. I was gonna say her real name right now. I had told her, hey, your dude has been messaging me, like look, here's the messages. She cut me off, super weird. We bumped into each other. She's like, I'm still with him. Like super weird. Like people act really funny, and it's like you never want to be the person to tell this other person like, hey, like this is what I found. You don't want to seem like a chismosa. Well, I was at the time, like forgive me, because I did want to know like how, like what the heck, like if they were both cool with it, you know. It's just, don't act like you wouldn't do it either. Anyways, it just doesn't feel good, you know. Or if you see something, you feel like you have to say something, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. And back in the day, I had seen one of my really good friends. She was pregnant at the time, and I went to the movies. I remember like how gut-wrenching that felt to tell her. We're all sitting down, no one else is sitting down, and I see this man that I know that was with my friend. He walks in and he's with somebody else. And My friend had went so crazy over this dude, like so crazy, and she was so obsessed with him. And I was just sitting there with Rudy, and I just seen him. We both lock eyes, and it's just like, you freaking dog. Me and the ex already had broken up, and I was with Rudy. But the way this man looked at me, like if we were doing the same thing, he was just like, you know, like bitch shit. Anyways, I told my friend, and it was just so, like, I cried with her. I swear, like I felt her pain. Her heart was breaking. Like you could feel it, you know? And I felt so horrible. And so it reminded me, and I was like, oh no, like this is going to hurt, like that girl. Like I don't know if I, hold on. I knew it was going to hurt this girl. Like I knew it. I was like, either she believes me or not. The seed is going to be planted in her head, and she's going to be like, what if, you know? She's pregnant too. Is it? They are friends. Like it's going to plant a seed. It's going to get something rolling, right? She had seen that I had did her cousin's makeup. Her cousin had posted, and she had messaged me. She was like, oh, like you did her makeup too. Oh, like, you know, that's so cool. Yada, yada, yada. And it just, you can tell that like she wanted to know, like, what did y'all talk about? Like, what was it? I told her like, hey, can we go get like a drink or something? And like, you know, like I didn't want to like just deliver it like that. Like that's just weird. At the same time, I'm like, how can I deliver this message like in person? And she's like, yeah, sure. Like, you know, I want to go and like get some makeup. Cool. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes like me and FAMBAM will just like, hey, like I'm gonna go to Ulta, like can you come with me? Or like, hey, like this or that. I sometimes get coffee with FAMBAM. Me and her go out, we're looking at makeup, and I'm like, dude, like I don't know how to, like I feel like a kid. I'm like, I don't know how to like let you know, but like and then she just looks at me and she's like, it's okay. And I'm like, what's okay? Because it's just weird, you know? And she's like, I already know. And I was like, no, what? Because like I could have been talking about something else, you know? She's like, I already know that he's the dad. I was like, so you know that they're still, she's like, mm-hmm. I was like, then what are you? She's like, I'm just waiting until the baby's born, and then I'm gonna go with my mom. So it was so like sad. Like she was willing to put up with that, you know? And it's like, I swear, like I always forget like my past at times, you know what I mean? And I'm like why would you do that? And then like I stopped myself, because it's like, that was you. Like, what you mean? Like, that was you. Like, so like, what are you talking about? You know? And so I was telling her, I'm like, dude, like there's so many other things that you can do. Like, cause like there was so much stuff that I didn't know. There's a lot of information that I share with them too. I'm like, you know what? Did you know that if you went to your local like shelter and stuff, they can give you like phone numbers to call, especially if you're a young mother, and they can help you get into housing, and they can help you get on your feet. You can get like free daycare. You can get help this way. You can get assistance this way, that way. And I was like telling her, like, you don't have to have them thinking that they're getting one over you, you know? And so she would, and it's okay that I'm sharing her story. She said that it was fine just not to say her name or anything like that. So like, don't worry, you guys are like, oh, we're picking up all her business. But she told me to like share it because it's a learning lesson. And I was like, you know what? I like that. Me and her were talking, and she's like telling me that like she had to, because like she didn't have a job, and she had to like, you know, he was like working, or he was with his friends, but she knew he was with her cousin. I guess one of her tias was like, hey, I know about this or I know about that. People would see them. Like they weren't as slick as they thought. Like they weren't as like they really thought they were doing something cool. So she was telling me that she just had to like stick it out a couple more months until the baby was born, and she was gonna go live with her mom. And so I was just telling her, like, you don't have to, like you can like do all of this. And she was like, no, like it's okay. Like I'm not ready to be alone right now. I was just so like, holy moly. So I want y'all to know, you are not stuck. You're not. Or if you are, get a plan. So her plan was pretty much like what I did too. I couldn't work at the time. I was only 15. As soon as I turned 16, I got emancipated from my mom. I started working, I started saving money, and I got the hell out of Dodge. Like, so she pretty much did the same. And I feel like a lot of people think like they have to be stuck for years. You don't. If you can, save up. And if you have to leave, you can always check out shelters. You can go to churches. You can go to the fire department. You can go to places, and they sometimes will give you like lists, or they'll help you with options. I remember there was so much that I found out once I was out of that hellhole, and I was just like, wow. After the baby was born, sure enough, like a week in, because me and her had kept contact, so I'm like, dude, like I'm willing to like help out for real. Like if you need to be busy, you need to keep busy. We can go to the park, my babies will play, we can chismear, and we did that. We would get like our McFlurries, we would get our McDoubles, and we would just eat, the babies would play, and it was just cool. Like I try to keep her busy because that's what I needed. That's what I need. That's what Sam was for me at times when I needed to get busy. If you guys don't know who Sam is, she's a friend that I met when I was babysitting, and she helped keep me busy. My friend Skillet, she would help keep me busy too. So I'm like, I'm huge on like, we need to help. Like us women, we need to stick together. And you know, men too, like we need to help out. We all need to we're all in this shitty together. So whenever she needed to get out of the house or she was craving anything, I got you. When I made freaking ceviche, I got you. I would go deliver it to her because she's like, dude, that looks so good. Put it in a little Tupperware and I take it to her, check up on her. And Jack would see me, but he thought like I was keeping it on the DL and I wasn't saying it. When you're trying to fool somebody, be very careful because you be fooling yourself. You be really fooling yourself. After she had the baby, I went and seen the baby. The baby is so cute. And her mama showed up. Her mom is so sweet. Just like that. She just took him and they left. But she had a happy ending. She has a happy ending. She's still happy. She has a new boo. She has 3 more kids and she is freaking thriving. She is amazing. Like she's super, super happy. I should start doing more of like talking to you guys. Like when I was telling my story, there's sometimes where I get so much into telling you guys my story that I don't tell you guys, that you guys don't have to put up with the bullshit. There was a lot of things that I put up with because I thought I had to, and you don't have to. Don't think like, oh, Alexis put up with this like for X amount of years, I'm gonna do the same and I'm gonna have my happy ending. No. Everyone has a different road in life, and what worked for me probably won't work for you. Don't ever feel like you have to put up with bull and think that like if you put up with it long enough, it's gonna turn it into a diamond. No, it doesn't always happen that way. Some people just are the way they are because how they just are. There's so many times that I had broken up with an ex and my mom would pick me up and I would leave. And I really thought like, oh, okay, this is the time, like he's going to change. And it would just be like that one thing he decided to say and it's like, just a word. I couldn't even say dude. I couldn't even call him dude. That is so stupid. I could not even call him dude. And this man would freaking tear into me, make me feel so fucking tiny. I couldn't even watch like little shit like that. I could not even watch Family Guy because who watches that stupid? Are you dumb? Like he would belittle me for the littlest things. And then I met my amazing husband. And I remember like the Family Guy was just playing. I was gonna change it just because I'm like, he probably thinks that's stupid. And he was just like, looked at me like, you like that? Like he was just really, really sweet. Like, you like that show? Like, yeah, it's all right. Like he didn't make me feel stupid, you know? Or like when I catch myself calling him dude, like I still have like this freaking trauma. I call Rudy dude or I say something and I'm like I shouldn't have called him dude in this time because he'd probably be like, what the heck? And we'll just laugh. Like I'm telling you guys do not have to settle. You do not have to put up with bull. You are not stuck. You might be comfortable because we feel like, oh, no one's gonna love us, or oh, this is, you know, you think that you have to put up with X amount and you're like, it's not as bad, it could be worse. You don't have to put up with bull. Don't settle. You can be happy. You can be happy. When I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I could have just I could have left here, I could have left there, and I could have, like, no one was there to like guide me a certain way, you know what I mean? They'd just be like, you can just leave, or like the way they would give me advice, it just wouldn't work for me. It just didn't. Maybe I'll go more into it, but it just didn't work, and I just didn't want to hear it. But there is help out there, you guys. I didn't know you could call the church, or you can go to the church and explain your situation and they could help you. I didn't know that was an option. My friend got help that way. She went to the church. She told them like, hey, I have an abusive spouse. I don't know where to go. I don't want to be homeless. They put her up in a home. She started working for the church. If you don't want to go into the church, that's fine. There's my friend. She went into a shelter because she couldn't live with her mom and dad because her dad was abusing her. So she went to the shelter. She explained the situation. The shelter, she had 2 kids at the time. The shelter helped her out, told her where she could go, helped her get a job, helped her get into housing. Google and see what options there is for you guys. just because like you dropped out of school, like, oh, I didn't finish school, go get your GED. There were so many people telling me like, oh, the GED won't mean anything, like you can't get a government job. I worked for the post office. Next. Like if you really want something and if you talk right and if you educate yourself on it, you can get it. There's no limits. There's only people who have tried, and that's why they tell you like, you can't do it. You can do it because you're not me. I'm me and I can do it, and I did it. So don't ever feel like you will have to settle because, oh, that's it. No, you can start whenever. You can start now. You can start in 5 years. You can start in 10 years. You can start in 20. You can start in 25, 30. You can start whenever. There's people when I went to get my GED who were like 50 getting their GED because they just, you know what? Time's gonna pass by anyways. Might as well just get it. Exactly. It's gonna pass regardless if you're sitting on the couch or if you're busting your ass. Time is gonna pass regardless. Time waits for nadie. Just go do it. All right. I feel like that went from a story time onto like a rant. But I feel like there's just some times where I'm like, I see comments and I'm like, you know what, I should do a video. I'm just gonna start doing it, damn it. So that is my makeup story time and how I met a really, really good friend. I go like this, like if she's gonna grab my hand, pendeja. She's freaking awesome. I love her so much. I met so many amazing people on YouTube, through Instagram, through TikTok, through Snapchat. It's freaking crazy. It's freaking honestly crazy. I've met so many people, especially doing makeup, and it literally just like, there's like endless friendships, you know, and it's just like so many people, so many acquaintances, it's nuts. I know I rambled a little bit, but for good reason. I hope you guys do know that you're not stuck. You don't have to put up with the bull crap. You don't have to put up with the cheating, the hitting, none of it. You don't have to put up with any, when it comes from a spouse, mother, whoever it is, you do not have to put up with any of the bull crap. You really don't. And yeah, so I love you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed the story time. Besos a todos, and I'll see you guys in my next story time. I love you guys very, very much. Make sure to check out my other social medias because I've been really trying to post on there. I really am. Like I really am, especially TikTok, eh? I love you guys. Besos a todos. Hugs and kisses, and I really hope that this video made you feel good. I love reading your guys' comments when you guys like, Lex, this is what I needed. I love you guys. You guys make my freaking day, my week, my month, my year. You guys have literally made it so amazing. I love you guys. I just wish I could really hug you guys. There's sometimes where I'm like, what are you doing with your hands? I'm trying to reach out to y'all and just hug y'all. I love you guys. Bye.